Hi, I'm Cherie, and I'm going to be presenting my persuasive speech to you for Public Speaking 2608. Have you ever thought about having plastic surgery? Maybe a boob job, fix your nose, and yes, I'm talking to the guys too. Tummy tuck? I'm sure at some point all of us have. I know there's things about myself that I wish were different. But America needs to have more strict rules about who's allowed to receive this type of surgery. Specifically, the U.S. needs to implement a plastic surgery ban for minors. I'm going to tell you why this is necessary and inform you of a few countries that have already recently implemented the ban. Then I'm going to tell you about a specific country that doesn't have a plastic surgery ban and what's happening there. But as I transition into my first main point, I want to emphasize that I'm not defending a ban of medically necessary reconstructive surgery. I'm defending a ban of non-medically necessary cosmetic plastic surgery. The type of surgery that needs to be banned for minors. According to The Cut, health spokesman Jen Spahn says, "I think it is completely unacceptable to give a 15-year-old a breast enlargement as a Christmas present." This kind of thinking is logical, and a lack of people in the U.S. thinking along these lines is what keeps our society on a downward slope. Because in case you weren't aware, it is legal for parents to give consent to their minors to undergo this type of surgery. And ABC reports that in the U.S., children as young as 6 are undergoing plastic surgery. 6 years old. How completely absurd is that? Who in their right mind would give their kid the permission to undergo this type of surgery? It's a procedure that is neither health beneficial nor is it guaranteed to be safe. So instead of allowing kids to have the option to have surgery, we need to be building them up and continuing a fight against the society and culture that is molding them into these ways of thinking. By setting examples and building them up to be strong human beings that are happy with who they already are. Not sending them the message that we need to change ourselves because of how others view us or because of how they've shaped us to view ourselves. This brings me directly to my next point about a few countries that have recently implemented the ban. Germany is one of them. The advocates of Germany's ban are confident in the new legislation that it will be in the physical and psychological interests of the country's minors. Quoting Spahn's edition, that youth protection is also about protecting young people from the consequences of a wrong-headed beauty craze. Agreeing with Spahn's statement, I add that minors are still developing, so they should not have the option of taking these measures to change themselves, especially at these ages, because their thinking is blurred by what other people think about them, or what they want other people to think about them. They've yet to become wise enough to see past these types of things. Researchers have even shown that people younger than 21 years old, minors, have not fully developed a sense of self, which is needed when making these types of decisions about their bodies that they may regret later. Italy has also implemented the ban. In an article about Italy's ban of plastic surgery for minors, Meg Finney says, "Anyone who has turned on the television, flipped through a magazine, or glanced at the tabloid headlines in the grocery store has noted the overbearing focus on appearance in today's society." Now, to a certain extent, admiring appearance and fashionable style can be fun and creative, but when it becomes so thoroughly absorbed as a priority in society, to the point that governments are intervening on minor plastic surgery operations, then there's a problem. How dead on is that? Because our priority shouldn't be all about looks, and plastic surgery is. So now that I've spoken a little bit about why we need a plastic surgery ban for minors and listed some of the countries that have already implemented this ban, I want to tell you about plastic surgery in Korea, along with some of its effects. Korea, a country who is yet to implement the ban, is having more plastic surgery than ever. In South Korea, where physical perfection is seen as a way to improve quality of life, including job and marriage prospects, plastic surgery procedures can seem as commonplace as haircuts or shopping for new clothes. And actually, statistics show that South Korea is the plastic surgery capital of the world, with Brazil and the US trailing behind. It's crazy to think that we are trailing right behind Korea here, a place where you're almost unable to walk a block down the street without seeing a plastic surgery advertisement or a plastic surgery clinic. Having no ban on plastic surgery is contributing to these alarming effects in Korea. South Korea has more than 4,000 plastic surgery clinics and has the world's highest rate of cosmetic procedures. So this increasing demand for plastic surgery is obviously increasing the demand for doctors to perform these surgeries, which you can imagine is resulting in people that are unqualified to perform these surgeries doing so. This is causing Korea's plastic surgery industry to face the consequences, receiving formal complaints about botched procedures and dodgy doctors. And these complaints in 2013 doubled from the year prior. The complaints ranged from unqualified doctors to overly aggressive marketing to ghost doctors. And ghost doctors are those who stand in for more qualified doctors and perform the surgeries on these patients. According to my research about Korea's plastic surgery, an infamous case from December of 2013 was a high school student ending up in a coma after surgeries to fix her nose and get a double eyelid. And that is a procedure that makes the eyes look bigger. The Korean Association of Plastic Surgeons looked into the incident with the girl and found the hospital that performed these surgeries on her hired ghost doctors. So they referred the case to prosecutors. As of a year later, the case was still being investigated and nobody had been charged. It's sad to think that things are coming to this in Korea and that we've yet to implement a ban that will help contribute to the prevention of our country becoming any closer to being in the same situation as Korea. So, to wrap things up, I emphasize the need for a plastic surgery ban in the U.S. for minors. I spoke about why this ban is necessary, listing a few countries that realize this and have implemented the ban, while also talking to you about some horrible effects not having this ban is having in Korea, a country that we aren't far behind in this sense. Now, my argument isn't that a plastic surgery ban is a quick fix to all the issues, but it's a solid starting point that will allow us to work on the underlying issues and to start to mold a better society and culture to live in. I leave you with this quote from an article in the Huffington Post. And here lies the missing link: inner beauty. It's not about the type of cosmetic surgery or the motivation behind the decision. It's about the lack of emphasis on one's own beauty. Thank you for listening.